the Keswick area, north of town. Scotty Mo, what'd you get? Did you get some ice?
Nada.
Nada?
The whole way down, I stopped for coffee. It started in the parking lot.
Okay. How about you, Keith?
Sleet as we were driving in. Little slippery on 53. I want to talk about chickens, man.
Yo,
And
I
eggs.
don't want to talk
What's
about
up with
chickens.
that?
I dropped our oldest off at preschool, and he goes, "What are these ice pebblets, Daddy?" Didn't know the word sleep, but figured out the term ice pebblets. I gave him some props right there.
I like it.
Yeah, ice pebblets. Made my day. It's the little things.
Yeah, well, look at that. He's already starting to following the old man in the business, making up some PR stuff.
For a
Pellets.
4-year-old, I'd say pebblets for a 4-year-old is not bad.
Yeah.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
What's the word?
Pebblets.
I can't say that.
Keith Smith.
I can't say that.
All right, guys, give the show a like and a share. We're going to have a lot of fun here on the Wednesday edition of Real Talk, featuring Scott Morris, guys, of Ross Mortgage. Judah Wickhauer's in the house. Liza the dog is in the house. Keith Smith showed up in a hipster jacket from Seattle with 16 pockets. You were looking sharp.
Thank you.
It didn't have the Michael Jackson zippers on it, though. I was a little disappointed.
It did not have the Michael
Really?
Jackson.
Michael Jackson. I don't even know what that is. What does that mean?
Like
You should look it up.
If you keep it up, I'm going to talk chickens.
the leather jacket from the Bad video with like
yeah.
1,000 zippers on it.
So
Was
you-
that the
you-
bad video or Thriller?
So you like just assume
I
I
don't-
watched that stuff?
I mean,
It's Michael Jackson. He's the king of pop.
Yeah, no.
It's the king
Mrs.
of
Smith
pop.
did. I was not a Michael Jackson fan.
We got the king of mortgages, the king of real estate, the king of
Everything.
consistency and just being an all-around guy, and Judah Wickhauer, and yours truly over here. Judah Wickhauer, we can rock and roll when you're ready. Ooh, we got some questions for you guys.
We love questions.
Good Wednesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. We're live in downtown Charlottesville on a sleety, rainy Wednesday morning. But the mood is bright here in the studio because mortgage demand is popping. And that makes everybody in this room quite happy. The show today presented by Ross Mortgage and Scott Morris. Ross Mortgage and Scott Morris, people you can trust. I think we may see the undeniably talented Jon Snow on a future show here on Real Talk. Judah Wickhauer is our director. If we go to the studio camera, we'll welcome the gentleman and maybe create some sizzle reel content from the get-go from Scotty Mo. Fellas, weekly mortgage demand jumps 7% as interest rates drop to their lowest levels since September. That was the storyline all over the news this morning, at least the news I was watching here. I was happy.
We're not going to
about
start off
this.
with chickens?
I was happy about this.
Look, he doesn't want to go to chickens.
We can talk anything you want.
No, I'm okay.
I adapt to you guys.
Yeah,
First, good Wednesday morning.
Yeah, good Wednesday morning. Good morning.
good
Scott.
Wednesday morning. Good morning, everyone. We can talk chickens. I'm a little chicken frustrated, but
Well, that's the reason I brought it up. I think a little chicken therapy would be a good thing to start the show off.
Do you know a story that I don't know? Is that why you're bringing
I
this
don't know.
up?
I talked about. I posted a picture on Facebook.
That's what I'm following up on.
I'm back
That's
to dealing
what it
with a very crafty raccoon who managed to find a new way in, and I boarded everything up at this point. No more chicken wire. It's I'm like always one step away in this chicken coop, like from turning into the guy who like built the libertarian bulldozer tank out in San Francisco. Like it's just
Why don't you
one
just put
piece
some
after
Claymore
another.
mines out or something like that.
Can viewers and listeners, can you see Scott Morris outside his chicken coop on his farmette in beautiful Culpeper County with a shotgun in his hands, waiting to mow down a raccoon or a fox?
Yeah, it's
You got mountain lion
more
too, don't you?
defensive. I mean, we get I don't know about mountain lions. We get bobcats.
Bobcats,
I
okay.
think you just need to turn loose that two-year-old twins you've got
Yeah, they're.
and just let them out. And
Well,
they'll
the twins are
solve-
4 now.
Oh, 4, sorry.
Yeah, they are. They're they're a force to be reckoned with.
What is
No
the
doubt.
difference between a mountain lion and a bobcat?
Probably about 70 pounds.
Okay, that's pretty sizable difference. Scott and Mo.
The difference is you don't want to see either one of them.
Actually, in Virginia, it's probably close to 50. They say that we don't have mountain lions in Virginia.
Do you have the coy wolf in Culpeper County?
Coy wolves are very prevalent.
Yeah, I see the coy wolf around where I live. How about you in Fluvanna?
That a dog?
Coyotes.
Yeah. So, get back to real estate business stuff. How's your applications doing?
Applications are up. Contracts are up.
Yeah.
Pre-approvals are up. So
Yeah, I just pulled up the MLS real quick, just our little footprint. Last 7 days, going from today back 7 days, 55 came on, 75 went into pending. So the ratio is still there. It's pretty strong. Pendings going in versus actives. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing. What kind of product type, and as far as the homes that are buying, is it towns, is it detached?
I mean, it varies. It's there's all across the board. There's we're putting a few more buyers on. It's also giving room for people who are potentially waiting to sell to get back into the market while we're seeing the inventory grow. We're seeing more single-family detached. We're seeing more townhomes. I've had a lot of interest in some investment properties and questioning whether or not things cash flow for them. And, that's really depending on what their situation looks like as far as what they're putting down a lot of times. Those are the main things. I've seen a lot of bad media about what to do to get pre-approved and talking about timelines and 30 to 90 days. Like, if it's 30 to 90 days for you getting pre-approved, there should be something else going on as far as a change of job that's providing where we're needing up to date, pay stubs verifying that. But one thing has actually rang true, which is some of these articles have mentioned the best time to buy was yesterday. And that's because it truly is and was. You can get in, build some equity, and be in a position to refinance. You're going to be in a more stable long-term payment than a rising, what we've seen for inflation when it comes to leasing a place versus buying a place. So rising rents versus getting into a fixed rate mortgage, you're definitely going to be in a better place down the road.
That's the first one, Judah. Started with bad media. That was excellent.
So we're talking applications are up. What about pre-approval letters? Are you starting to see phone traffic pick up, tempo pick up? Hey, Keith picks up the phone and calls Scott. Hey, got a client. Can you run a quick pre-qual on them? Is that picking up at all?
Yeah,
because that's kind of the leading edge a little bit.
Absolutely. And we've had buyers who maybe come in last year who are now active again. So they went through a phase where they kind of, they set everything aside. They came back in. They said, now we're ready. One in North Carolina last night. Hey, I need an updated letter. We've done a lot of the check-ins and drips and emails and everything and haven't heard a word back, but apparently a property came on. She's ready to make an offer. Nothing's changed. We updated everything this morning, and hopefully we'll be under contract by the weekend.
I know you've got a few questions
We do.
on that, but just
We do.
real quick, I just opened up the pendings for the car footprint. Medium days on market is 9. So took the medium days.
That's going to fall. I think if you're
Which fall
someone,
mean it's going to go lower. Or it's gonna
go lower. I think if you're someone who is out there and interested in getting in, get in before. This is like the bell I keep ringing. Everybody's like, we want lower mortgage rates. I was like, not as bad as you think you do, because as soon as rates start to fall,
Here's the sizzle reel right
we're going
here.
to be back into multiple offer situations, and it's going to become more and more difficult for first-time buyers to get into the market. The best time to buy is right now.
So I'm looking through.
We should go down that road. We should create content around this. Keith and Scott, content with you guys. And Judah, you can start it right now. And maybe we start with Scott's take here. Rates are falling. Mortgage demand is picking up. If rates continue to fall, what is the impact, Scott Morris, that's going to have on the Central Virginia real estate market?
If we have more buyers and we are and a limited amount of inventory, we're going to be back into multiple offer situations. Value is going to continue to increase, and it's going to make it harder to get in as a first-time buyer.
totally agree with that. We've been talking about this for a while. Part of me thinks dropping interest rates may not be a good thing, right, for the inventory side of things. But as you were talking, I'm taking a look at the 75 that last week that went in pending. And to your point, I think you're right, the number's going to stop dropping. I'm just running up there, 134 days on market, 111, 75, 145, 50. I'm just running up there. There's a lot of substantial double-digit and triple-digit days on market. I think 2 or 3 weeks from now, that's going to get cycled out, the stuff that's been on the market. Assuming it's in the right place, right location, right features, right condition, right? Assuming that's the case, I think you're right. I think you're going to start seeing DOMs. 9 is freaking low.
So low.
9 is low.
Especially
but the
for
other side of
January.
that, I think some of the stuff that you're seeing that's racking up all these days on, and I do think that I've seen. This isn't like some harbinger of death. This is more foreclosures coming onto the market. Not some great number, but where the banks, the power's off to where this is cash or Renault only as far
Did you
as
say power off?
So
Got it.
Yeah, the foreclosure has the power is off, so you can't appraise it in that condition. They may or may not be able to turn it on. So they're
You're
only
not
gonna
suggesting foreclosures are going to increase, are you?
I said yes, but I'm saying but not by a great amount.
Yeah,
This
got it.
isn't some big spike, but this is what happens when the government said you can't go into foreclosure, and now we're starting to see some of them tick onto the market, and that's going to create some opportunities for people who are willing to go in and say look at a 203K option where they're gonna take occupants of the property. They want to make some improvements. There may have been some less than ideal things that happened to the house before someone exited it. That gives them options to get in at purchase. And along with that, you look at some of these properties that have these long days on market that have a serious amount of deferred maintenance involved. These are other options for people to go in, take occupancy, and be able to make some changes and improvements that meet their lifestyle and needs.
And you've got all the tools to help them
And I've
do
got
that.
all the tools
Because
to
that
make it.
requires back-end help, right?
Yeah,
Contractors.
I've seeked out Woody Fincham. Actually has a relative who is a fantastic communicator and 203K HUD consultant who travels. I don't know if he comes all the way here, but he definitely goes into Richmond, which is part of where I do some of the business. And then I've got 2 others that travel from Northern Virginia down to here. So there's people that we have that can meet in the middle for the 203K. I've got a contractor that I can recommend. Certainly people are welcome to go out and find whomever they'd like to work with, but I have built a team around this model.
So we've got a buyer who wants to do this. Make an assumption right here, or if somebody on here wants to do this. What's the team? Just high level bullet point. What's the team need to consist of? Right.
A contractor who can get the work done and communicate, create a bid that can be broken down into a materials and labor split so that they can receive draws from the investor.
And you got that.
I've got that. And if you have somebody else, I'm happy to talk to them, coach them on what they need to do. A 203K HUD consultant who can go in with the builder, also communicate well, because there's 2 pieces to this. It's not just getting to the loan portion. It's about getting the work done after the loan closes and getting the work complete so that you're not, if you've ever worked with a bad contractor or if you've ever been around people who are causing delays, it may not be important to them, but it's going to be important to you if you're living in the house.
Well said. That's true.
I was
He's
smiling.
going to zing you right there, Scott, with
I
the
was
bad
smiling. I was
contract.
going to go buy employees, but I won't go down that road.
Knew that was coming.
I'd have fired myself several times back then.
For those that are new to Real Talk with Keith Smith, a few lifetimes ago, Scott Morris worked for Keith Smith
No, let's not use the word work.
in the construction business.
was a paid employee.
Was a paid employee.
Was a paid employee. Work we use loosely here. For the sake
We're
of
only teasing.
I know.
We're only teasing.
I think they know that. We love Scott. For the sake of a talk show, if rates go down, which they're going down, I agree with you. It's going to put a lot more buyers in the market. I agree with you. It's going to drive valuations north and upward. 100% agree with you. One byproduct as well could be all of us that locked in like 2.8 refis or got a 30-year fixed at a 3% or a 3.2%. that could motivate us to get back in the market as that delta shrinks.
100%, and that's what I was saying, where you're going to see people motivated to step away from the low rate given the amount of equity that they have as values continue to rise.
The equity offsets that difference.
The equity helps offset it.
But
Just like rising wages offsets, and that's what creates sticky inflation. People are happy they're getting paid more, but the money doesn't go any further. So it's a bit of a wash, but it makes it beneficial on both sides.
I'm looking that same week last year. We got 55 that came on this last 7 days. Last week was 57. So we are not growing the inventory, right? So if the pendings are growing and the buyers are growing and the inventory isn't growing, now maybe what we're talking about inventory might help, right? Because to Jerry's point, people that may be sitting on the fence.
Because we got great interest rates. And we don't want to jump back in because the housing prices have gone up. But what Scott said is exactly right. We're also sitting on stacks of paper because the values have appreciated significantly.
Stacks of value, right?
Stacks of paper, money. Yeah, we have a lot of equity. Yeah.
Well, and if you can go and pull down the market reports and take a look at the few that we put in
Good
there,
job.
they like that, huh?
Yeah.
On that, Flavana or so forth and so on, you can take a look if you bought, just in general terms, 3 or 4 years ago, what your percentage increase in appreciation is.
Substantial.
It's substantial, and then you can use that. So that may help this inventory. At one point we banned that word, but we just can't.
Yeah.
Because if we're fixing that side of the equation, interest rates are coming down, buyers are coming back in. To your point, what concerns me is I don't want to. Maybe I'm going to get myself into a little bit of trouble here. I don't want to go back to this insanity that was 24 months ago, 12 months ago. People making multiple offers, not caring about home inspections, so forth and so on. I don't think that's healthy for the market at all. So we've got to figure out how to get this inventory ticket up. Don't know the magic answer to it.
Well, how about this? Follow-up question for both you guys. And then Jamie Turner, we'll get to your comment about 203K that are not FHA. We'll get to that in a matter of moments. What is the biggest headwind for the market right now? Is it rates? Is it inventory? Or is it values being too high that it's creating a lack of affordability? What's the biggest headwind?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
There you go.
Remember back to chickens.
So back to chickens. There's a really good joke I heard about that lately, but we're not going to do that live on air.
Thank you. I really got nervous for about a half a second there.
Me too.
Oh man, here it comes.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, partners. It was a good run. It was 400 something shows. It's a good run, but oh well.
this isn't. Are we regulated here? So rates, I think, are the biggest driving factor to all of it. I think we need to hit kind of a neutral area for a little while as we come down. Needs to be a gradual step down. This can't be some off the cliff fall, because that's what creates more volatility and more problems. But inventory certainly is what is driving the value problem. So even if we have what we're beginning to show is that if people can qualify and are willing to purchase at this level of interest rate, we're not in huge multiple offer situations, but you are property dependent, that until we get more inventory, we're going to continue to have a valuation problem.
Yeah, I get that, and rates matter, right? Interest rates matter. It's a math calculation, but if there's nothing to buy in the right place that is at the right price with the right features in the right condition, we have a 203 that can help on the condition. Literally, we're helping our youngest daughter in Richmond, and where they want to be is the right location for the price that they want. The features and conditions aren't there, and we're going to have to look at the possibility of doing a 203K. The struggle is, if I'm buying it for $500,000, because that's pretty much the bottom number where they're looking, and put another $250 in it just to pick a number.
Did you price them out?
We price out of the market.
Yeah.
So just curious. So
Depending how long they want to stay.
Nationally, how many homes were sold last year?
I'd have to look that up. I wouldn't know.
Around 6 million?
Okay.
Sounds like he knows the answer. You know the answer.
So if we have
I want to stop you for a second. I went over to Bill Tucker's office to sign some paperwork on the way over here for the land trust, and there was a sign on his office. He goes, "What do you think I'm Google? What do you think I'm Google?"
I sometimes do. I send him some emails. Yeah.
Was Bill wearing Birkenstocks? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, you know what? I didn't. I only saw him from the waist
Because it's
up.
winter and it's raining. That's why I asked.
He probably takes his boots off, puts his Birks on. And
I think he
go
probably
into the
does.
office.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. So there's some polls out that say we've got roughly around 20 million people who would like to become homeowners.
Yeah.
And with an average purchase price of around they believe of around $240,000, which is around $100,000 below the national average, and with 20 million people who want to buy houses, and as many of them as we can get qualified, if we're only have enough inventory to support 6 million transactions, there's a lot of people who aren't going to get there. And there's various reasons, whether it's credit qual or income or student loans, whatever's going on personally, there's also that massive problem, and that's what's going to continue to drive valuation. So I think my biggest answer to that point is inventory is the problem, whether with or without rates.
That's why I think the dropping of the rates could solve our biggest problem. So many. I mean, maybe this is a very siloed or micro perspective here, but with the friend group we have, like so many people locked in something that was like at 3.5 or below when it was available during COVID. The conversation, at least with the dads, is like, why would we give that up?
For the next couple of years, until there's improvements that need to be made, and they want to dip in for cash,
Or another kid,
yeah. or if you look at some of the entry level homes, it's like, we've turned our living room into a third bedroom. It's like, all right,
That's different.
yeah.
I'm talking like the guy that's done the 2 move ups. That's on maybe like the third one.
What's their next step? Is it to remain there until they downsize? So is that person really affecting inventory the way that that others might, if they're not moving out of the area for a job? Or
That's fair.
purchasing
Because
a
you're
vacation
basically
home?
saying that person's going to stay sticky no matter what.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's a fair response. Yeah.
So I can tell you car footprint, just what number of units that were sold, because while you were chatting, I just pulled it up. Car footprints, that's Albemarle, Charlottesville, Nelson Green, Fulvan, and Louisa. Attached and detached last year, 3,902 transactions were done. Just to put a perspective to it in our region, meaning for that whole year, that whole volume of sales, medium days on market was 5, medium sales price was 425.
5 days on market, you said?
5 days, yeah.
Wow.
Now, that's everything. This is
Sure.
a huge.
Still slim.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I'm breaking down the reports by jurisdictions, and I'm working on Nelson County, and I can't remember who was the viewer or listener that educated me on that, but I'm breaking.
Todd Rath.
Was it
That's,
Todd? There you
that's
go.
the whole car footprint.
That's the whole car footprint. Single family attached, detached. Let me double check it, make sure I did not make a mistake here.
What is the?
And you have questions for you coming in.
So that's
specifically.
also detached, attached, 6 jurisdictions last year, 3,902.
What is the population of?
So 4,000.
total car footprint.
I'd say 300,000 people.
Yeah.
300.
Yeah. Total
Okay.
car footprint, all the outer counties,
Okay.
300,000 people.
So 300,000 people. 1% of those people were new homeowners or transitioned from one property to another.
Yeah.
A
So
little more than 1%. Yeah.
1.5.
4,000 homes. Yeah.
So I'm just going to arbitrarily pick.
So what are you saying? You're saying you're in a good business, Scott. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that we continue, like the inventory problem continues to make that more difficult. That's the bell I keep
That's the
ringing.
that's the
and
headwind.
I think rates come down just exasperate the problem at the moment.
Jamie Turner, for Scott specifically. Jamie Turner is a real estate investor. Are there similar loans to the 203K that are not FHA?
If you're going to retain and rent the property, yes. If you're going to flip the property, no.
Juan Lewis, welcome to the program. That's good stuff from Scott. Bill McChesney for Keith. What are the stats for
Hey, Bill.
Louisa County? I have several friends living out that way. Is that part of the car footprint?
It is part of the car footprint, but it's a little tricky, right? Because some of it is actually part of the Fredericksburg,
Another MSA.
another MSA, another MLS. But be a
Parts
little-
of Buckingham as well, Bill.
But to be patient, that's coming up soon. I'm actually looking at Nelson County next because I'm going to bring in Jesse and we're going to talk a little bit about Jesse Rutherford, talk a little bit about it. So, probably sometime next week, I'm going to tackle Louisa. But while we're chatting, I could do a quick little dive into it. But I wanted just to arbitrarily pick something that just sold and closed in the last 7 days. And the reason I wanted to do it, it closed on 120. It's a Charlottesville piece of property, closed for $335. That went under contract on 12/11. So the interest rates in the beginning of December was what?
Not great.
Yeah. So there was a contract that came in when interest rates were high. I personally think, based on the conversations I'm having one-on-one, interest rates are really not, I mean, I get it maybe at the coffee table and trying to figure out what we're going to do in the future. Two things I know. People are staying in their houses longer.
Yeah.
The low interest rate is going to keep, I was going to say a fancy word, which I can't say. Make it worse.
Peblets.
Exacerbate?
Yeah, that. Make it worse. Thank you. Look at that. Make it worse on it, right? Because they're just not going to put their homes on the market because the math doesn't work unless that interest rate drops, and then that might help us with the inventory. But the point is I think, and Scott, you can attest to this because you deal with this much more than I do on a daily basis. Yes, there's the conversation about interest rate, but I can't believe there's not more of a conversation of there's nothing for me to buy. Is that?
I mean, yeah, we have we'll send out a pre-approval. Somebody has the right now, oh my God, I saw the house, let's go. But if they saw, and this is where the multiple offer still exists.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you it just came on and you love it, several other people might love it as well.
Yeah.
And when that's the case, then they sometimes hit the brakes and go, well, there's nothing else out here.
So I use the buyer pool as literally that, right? I've done this a couple times on the show, right? It's the 10-meter deep side of the pool was 2 years ago. That, 20-foot depth pool is maybe, at the best case scenario, 15 feet. It's still huge. The buyer, the inventory, and maybe it's not the kiddie pool anymore. Maybe it's the 3-foot side of the pool, right? But that ratio is just way out of whack. There's just way more buyers out there, qualified buyers out there, than there is product to sell. And I don't know the magic answer.
More difficult time for a first-time home buyer right now or during the depths of COVID?
During the depths of COVID, but that's why I'm for anybody who's qualified but on the fence and goes, well, now it's just not the time for me. I'm going to wait for rates to come back down. You and everyone else, and then it becomes this
A dogfight.
yeah. What was easier? You paying $20,000 more for the house, or paying $20,000 less and being able to go and get an inspection, do all the things that
You explain it well right there, but that is difficult for some folks to understand.
people
Because
have a
they're browbeaten by media on rates.
People have a hard time making decisions.
That's
that
true.
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's very true.
The man sitting across from me knows this for sure.
So you look at all these coaches and people who do all these things inside of different industries, and you get back to or the Gary V's about why do I speak and do this for people, because you can go out and tell people this is the path, this is what you need to do. Only
Scott.
so many people are going to actually implement and do anything with that. Everybody else is going to go, oh, well, maybe I'll do it tomorrow, or maybe I'll think about it and
That's just human nature,
and I'll
brother.
get there.
That's just human nature, right?
That's my point. But that's the whole thing with, it's like the same people who weren't refinancing at 4% because when they were at 4% and rates were at 3%, well, I'll wait till they get to 1%. Okay, buddy, have a great day.
I love when Scott
I'm
gets-
gonna Amazon an elf hat.
I know.
When he gets like that, we're going to say, hey, do me a favor.
That's good. We want this Scotty Moe passion. Woody Fitcham says his
Hey,
friend goes anywhere in Virginia.
Okay.
And he also says this, home style loans are used for conventional rehabs. And Woody Fincham, the appraiser, who's a partner of this show, we are a society that cares more about the monthly payment than the rate. If someone needs to refi and cash out or to move, as long as the payment shock is not too severe, they will do it.
So that, Woody, great point, because that's the conversations we have on the kitchen table on the buy side, right?
What's the monthly payment?
What's the monthly payment? Most people, some folks, there's the sophisticated, not that the buyers are not sophisticated, but people that buy multiple properties and maybe investors, something like that, maybe be looking deep into the rate end of it. But they're just taking a look at, okay, I'm selling house A, I'm selling house B. Is my monthly rate, my monthly bill going to be higher or lower, right? And then they'll make the decision based on that. But I wrote a note down. It's interesting. We've got several folks that are going to be listing that want to wait to list until rates come down. And the conversation I'm having at the kitchen table with them is no. The inventory is so low. The buyer pool is so right. You're in the right location. We're going to price it right. The house is in the right features, in the right condition. Now's the time to put it in there. And we did a couple of homes when we were out west put them on the first of the year. And by the end of the day, we had multiple offers on it. And it was exactly that, right locations, right price, right features, right conditions. So if you're on the fence to list and your house is ready and you've got a plan to go somewhere, don't wait. I mean, if it checks all those boxes, this is a great time to be in the market.
And the other question is, what's going on in your life that causes you to want to do this to begin with? So you've got real reasons here, and then when do you think rates are going down? And
Well, if they listen to Real Talk with Keith Smith, it'd be sometime this year. I mean, you made that prediction over here.
To what? Why?
I trust you. You told me high fours.
I believe high fours.
And we wrote it down.
At the same
We
time,
did. You made jump in the air when he said that, high fours.
But at the same time, is that's no one's deciding factor when they want to make this life decision. They've got other things in life, and that is just
Yeah. We spend, I know you well enough because your family and we've worked together for eons. That's usually the conversation that you have. You have the conversation about, okay, where are we going? What's the motivation? Why are we doing this? And we start there and then start working our way backwards. I've had conversations with buyers recently, sellers, excuse me, that, I said, look, I did say, you know what, you might want to wait a little bit. This is not the right time. We're not going to be able to find what you're looking for. But it's a double-edged sword. I'm real curious to see when we have this show mid this year what that inventory number does, and I bet you.
Your prediction is it's going to be worse.
I think it's going to be worse.
Yeah, that's what you said.
I think it's going to be worse.
And you've made a compelling argument for that.
Well, I don't know about compelling, but I think it's going to be worse.
I mean, you have all these schools opening. I mean, they just said the Biotech Institute on Fontaine Research Park, $300 million.
AI can't run that.
Chat
GPT can't do that.
A kiosk can't run that. $300 million school, thousands of jobs. Legitimately in the press conference said thousands of jobs are coming here. In the very, very near future. Like maybe faster than the data science impact.
So I'm going to pivot slightly because I want to give a shout out to Firefly.
Okay.
So Firefly is...
The restaurant? The internet provider?
The internet provider.
Okay.
So I wanted to give a shout out to them because they did a little bit of work, and I think they cut one of the lines in my neighborhood, and I was up at 0 dark 30 because I can't sleep, yada, 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 and I don't have internet. And I actually made a phone call about 5:30 in the morning and got a live person that was local that helped me troubleshoot it to get through. So
that's big time.
We determined it was a cut and there wasn't much they can do about it, but the fact that somebody at 5:30 in the morning answered the phone that was local that I could speak to, it made me think of it. So little hats off to those guys. Not the restaurant, the internet provider.
Very nicely done. Follow-up questions for Scott. What makes you think that rates are going to drop into the 4s this year? Just curious, and that's from Spencer.
A combination of inflation data, jobs data, and whether it is a small dip recession, and that is the new
Term.
trendy phrase,
Moniker.
whether that is our new
Definition.
Smoke and mirrors.
transitory inflation phrase.
Pivot. Transitory
yeah.
inflation.
Bottom line is, I think there's enough mechanics that are going to influence the bond market over the next 10 to 24 months that we continue to see people buying into the U.S. 10-year and moving
the
away.
yield is down to 4.
Moving away from equities. You look at some of the big bear holder, theory people in the stock market. They don't believe that we've actually reached the bottom. And if that's the case, then we're going to see a continual move into bonds, an improvement in mortgage rates, and lower inflation.
It's pretty good right
Do
there.
you think inflation's settling down a little bit?
Data
Tell you the gas
suggests
pump, it's not.
the data suggests it
You
is.
can tell me at the gas pump it's not. That's not true. Ever since the election in Saudi Arabia said, no, we're not going to give you more gas, and then they said, yes, we're going to give you more gas. The biggest thing that's going to impact fuel going forward is the reopening of China.
Okay, that I don't disagree with. All I can tell you, when I was at Costco a few weeks ago,
$3.55.
it's
From almost $5 a gallon?
no, a couple weeks ago it was below 3.
Okay. Yes, we're going to...
How about them chickens?
Yeah.
I want to know what's up about egg prices. I really do.
They're up 60% this
I
year.
wanna know what's going
avian
on.
flu has wiped out an enormous amount of these production birds that comes from, and not that flu doesn't just knock them out, but then if these big holders of all these layers, they have to go in and like murder the entire flock to try to prevent it from moving forward. So less chickens laying, more expensive the eggs.
Let's set up a stand on 29 and I'll sell them for you. 10%. 10% per egg.
He can talk about anything. I love Scott. Kevin Yancey. Kevin, you owe this man a bottle of bourbon here.
Ooh.
Have you gotten your bottle of bourbon?
No.
You owe him a bottle of bourbon. He says this.
Kevin's a hard-working man. He's on the road all the time.
I'd like for my man to get his what he won from the bet.
I'm just trying to defend
He
myself.
says, does it not speak volumes when pre-existing smaller homes are now selling near the price of new construction?
Where though? Because in is that the case in like Buckingham?
He's in
or-
Waynesboro. He's in
Okay.
Waynesboro.
So, Kevin, again, much like Louisa, be a little patient. We'll go ahead and I'm working on, after I finish Louisa and Nelson, I'm going to go to the other side of the mountain and look at Waynesboro and Stanton and Augusta and all that kind of great stuff. But if you do pull down the tab on Keith, Real Talk with Keith Smith,
There you go.
I'm working on it, market report, right? So if you just
It's
go,
actually pretty clever. I like it.
Thank you. If you, let me see, where's Albemarle County? If you pull down Albemarle County's, so Albemarle County single-family detached, no new construction, was selling in Albemarle County. 570 was the median last year. And hold on a second here. New construction was 740.
And same
Volume
thing.
was way different,
But even over there, that goes to like
it may be different on the other side of the mountain.
the limited inventory is going to continue to hold the prices, the value where they are, which is my point there. But is there? Can you send a link, reference this? This new
What home
construction price point that
specifically?
you're giving? Because is it? Are we thinking? It's like when I ask someone like a guideline question, they tell me what they think the answer is. Like, are you telling me what you think, what you remember new construction being 3 years ago, or are you comparing that to actual prices that are going in the ground right now?
He says the bottle of bourbon is in UPS's hands. So it's on the way.
Send me the tracking number.
No. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. We are going to give him the benefit of the doubt. If the bottle of bourbon has not arrived to Scott Morris by, say, the first week of February, then we will ask for the tracking number here. Multiple people, the eggs and the birds are resonating with the viewers and listeners. Jason Howard on Rio Road, he's the king of Rio Road, says somewhere north of 55 million chickens were destroyed to combat the avian flu.
Yeah.
And then Bill, Mayor McIntyre, feed prices have also increased, which is causing this. And then Kevin says, man, a lot of people talking about the birds. 2 Rockingham turkey farms lost 700,000 turkeys last month.
That's right.
That's a lot.
So I'm in. Let's build a stand. I'll sell the eggs for you on the side of it. We'll come up with some sort of business plan. What do you think?
I can do that.
So I do want to do a shout out real quick to Kevin, to his point. So I just looked real quickly on Real Talk with Keith Smith and pulled down Fulvana County, new construction versus existing. So the delta's much tighter, right? The existing was 358 and the new construction was 403. So to Kevin's point, I bet you when I start taking a dive on the other side of the mountain, either that delta might be closer, and it may be the other way, but we just haven't gotten there yet with the stats. But in Fulvana in Albemarle, that delta was pretty huge, right? The percentage difference between the two. But in Fulvana, it's a little tighter, around 50 grand, something like that.
Real Talk with Keith Smith, market reports. I think he's doing a good job of aggregating the data. Perhaps a better job or the best job you can find anywhere in town for real estate data. Just put it like that. Dan Pettit,
I just make pretty slides.
The realtor who I saw on Sunday at the Boar's Head, he's got a fantastic forehand. He was watching UVA sweep Baylor in men's tennis. He says, I hope Scott is correct. He says, when is Keith losing his mustache?
Why is this mustache?
Did you see Neil Williamson's tweet?
I did.
Neil Williamson yesterday, and Neil, if you're watching, let us know, sends a tweet to his thousands of followers, and then I retweeted it to my thousands of followers about the mustache bet. And Scott, it looks like our friend Keith will be baby-faced and cleanly shaven sometime in the next, 5 months, 4 months?
What's going on here?
He's losing a bet. The stash is getting shit,
bet?
yeah. The stash is coming on.
Yeah,
I mean,
you-
it's basically looking like he's going to lose this bet, man.
Yeah.
What's the wager?
Neil Williamson. It's based on upzoning and whether upzoning will be approved by City Council by June 16th, I believe.
And you're no?
19th. It's 19th.
And you're no?
He thinks it's going to be after June 19th. The man on set is having his mustache.
And I have not had this off my. You ever know me?
I've not. But you're not wearing tasseled loafers these days, so I can appreciate that.
Hey, I'm wearing my red van.
I'm a fan. I like it. I like it.
Did you get
That
his
was a
shoes on screen? Did
That
you
was
need
a
to put 'em back
compliment.
up?
That
Put
was
'em back up.
Red van.
That was a
Put
compliment.
him on screen.
That was a compliment.
Keith, over the years, has become much more hipster.
No, I
and
used
his
to wear
attire.
these in the 70s when it was cool. I'm wearing it. I'm not wearing my loafers right now.
Kevin
Really?
says new construction.
Really? Nice job, buddy.
He says new construction near Martin's is starting at $329,000. In my neighborhood, 2 homes smaller, square feet, 30 years old, 319 and 339.
Yeah.
So he's given examples to
Yeah, and I can't wait to dive into the numbers, and he might be spot on, right? And that might work on it. I don't think I've got Greene County's numbers in here. I can access.
Not yet.
I don't think we've uploaded
Soon.
them.
Oh, we have not uploaded them.
I can't remember if I sent them to you.
Did we got to upload Greene County
can't
on Real Talk with Keith Smith?
Yeah, I honestly can't remember if I sent them to Judah or not. So,
Okay.
But Greene County, we'll take a look at that new construction versus whatever. And Kevin's probably spot on. Now that becomes a question from a buyer's perspective, and maybe you can jump in because you can talk about the lending side of it.
Oh, they're in there. They're in there, Keith
Yeah,
Smith.
Smith doesn't know how to do what he's doing.
Well, it's just a drop-down menu over there.
Well, maybe I have to do whatever I got to do.
Clear the cache, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the mustache bet, for those that are asking, Neil Williamson was at the Charlottesville Planning Commission work session yesterday. He was live tweeting it, and his second tweet from the work session read, "Staff indicates Module 1 of zoning ordinance is on schedule for delivery to the public next week." And then @ Keith Smith and hashtags mustache. Well done, Neil Williamson.
So
Love
I've
that.
been researching what it takes to shave a mustache. I've had this on since '85.
What it takes to shave a mustache. And
It's
what
a
did your
razor.
research find?
What the research find?
Yeah.
The research find is don't let Neil shave it. That's what the research
The
found.
question is, would Neil actually shave it?
No. We will. A bet's a bet, right?
Oh, I know the mustache is going to be shaved. If given the opportunity, would Neil actually shave
No.
the mustache?
Well, the question is, do I trust Neil with anything sharp around my throat? So that's a whole different story. But yeah, it's when they approve it, the next show it's coming off. So
I like it.
well, it's coming off.
I have no doubt you're a man of your word.
No, it's coming off.
Juan Lewis says, good morning.
Mona might leave me. She's seen me a couple times without it.
Who's that?
My wife.
Okay, yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
For like a year and change, right?
Not quite that. Yeah. I guess about a year and a half. Yeah,
Yeah.
you might be right. Yeah,
Year and change.
I think we met in '84, and I started growing at mid '85.
Grayson, for Scott specifically, which portion of your business is got the most momentum?
Oh, great question.
I'm purchase driven, so that's always the case. And from a regional perspective,
You might want to explain what that means.
so that means refinances slowed to a screeching halt last year, and then this year the government has gone in and in order to protect some of these, not just larger lenders, but everybody, in general, they've applied some LLPAs, which are loan level price adjustments, to future refinances. So even once rates drop, depending on certain scenarios, it's going to be more difficult, or at least more costly, to drop to a lower rate, with the government putting its thumb on that scale. So, being purchase driven, the majority of my business comes from either self-sourced leads for people trying to purchase that I can push back to realtor partners, or from realtor partners who are trying to help their clients get approved so that they can go out and purchase a home.
Good stuff. Keith.
I'm now. Kevin's got my wheels turning on Augusta. I was going to try to play around with that real quick and see where Augusta was standing on that, and just on the sold of it. And you didn't talk long enough, so I didn't quite.
I can keep talking.
Oh, he's got plenty of takes.
Why don't you
He's got
talk a
plenty.
little?
Where
Why
do
don't you
we wanna
talk a
go?
little bit longer?
We got what else? Anything else?
We
on
have
feed?
more questions.
Yeah, let's go.
Jason, you guys have both highlighted the trades labor shortage. If upzoning passes, is the labor available to build more housing in Charlottesville?
Well, it's not just a labor shortage. Then you get to the other side of the red tape. Like, okay,
And materials expense.
and how does that shake out for the investors who are going to be needed to execute on creating those properties? And as valuation increases for houses that are going to need to be torn down, when you're paying $1 million for what essentially is a lot that you want to put apartments on, what is your overall cost for the cash flow to work? I mean, we look every few years you see, so you see. Not necessarily specific to apartments, but you'll see a development get started and maybe not finished, depending on what the cost of labor, materials, and interest in the area needs to be, which goes back to how do we turn red tape into green tape to make things more or less costly for the developers trying to execute these plans.
Well said. I don't think we have, I'll echo what he said. I don't think we have the labor either. I mean, where's the labor going to come from? I mean, you don't have the labor for small remodeling projects in a short period of time. How about new construction?
I think you're more likely to get people or large, bigger builders who can come down from different places. Like I've got a friend of mine who's got 20 different remodels going right now. and runs crews from
Who's that?
Northern Virginia.
Is it not Kyle, right?
No,
Okay.
it's named Brent.
Okay.
Brenco Construction in Culpeper, but operates from Northern Virginia through Richmond conservatively. Probably there's a few more areas there.
I'll tell you what, Interstate Service Company, home's best friend.
There you
Perfect
go.
time for you to highlight them.
There you go. On the renovation side, because we're getting asked that quite often in our listing presentations, because again, right features, right conditions. You've got to hit these 4 spot on. Back to Kevin's question quickly, just a quick search. So this is Augusta County only, single family detached only, and what's sold last year, right? I'm not looking at actives or pendings or anything like that. So it's about the new construction number. The medium sales price was $380. The medium sales price for single-family detached without new construction is $320. So there's about a $60,000 plus delta on that. But this is 2022, right? We I don't know what's on the market right now. I have to take a bunch of time to do that. But just a quick blush at it, it's still a little higher new construction sale versus existing, but attached may change that and greater depth on it. But that's a pretty close delta, 60 grand. In Albemarle County, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars difference.
Kelsey says, Keith, which jurisdiction is the most popular with sales right now?
So back to my pear-shaped rubber band. The closer you get to the center of Charlottesville, the better you are, but it kind of bumps itself back up to the conversation we just had with Augusta. So pre the adjustment, let's say 2021, 2022, that rubber band just grew, early 22, that just grew. And no matter where you were within that rubber band circle, you did well. Right now, it's kind of pear-shaped, it's kind of tight. You've got to be in the right location, right price, right features, right condition. The further you get outside of that rubber band, right, you'll start seeing price not being, adjustments on it, conditions potentially a problem, and also features. So the bottom line is closer to the center of Charlottesville, the better you're off, the more you start getting out. Now, that doesn't mean we've got a client right now, cash client, looking for a large tract of land that he wants to put a home in the middle of it, right? It's all cash. So, that's a whole different animal. But across the board, that's what you're going to see, a little bit closer to the rubber band, to the center of the core.
You're feeling confident with this market.
I said I've got myself into a little bit of trouble the end of last year, that I was really excited about going forward, and actually got some fellow realtors like, well, they were not so high on it, and the real estate, I have not been this excited about general real estate in a long time. And the reason I'm excited about it is I got a guy sitting to my right who's a trusted advisor, who's an expert, who knows how to make things happen, right? We've got everybody on our trusted partner list on Real Talk with Keith Smith that knows how to get a deal done, from title companies, from closure and Bill Tucker and Interstate Service Company. Everybody knows how to get a deal done. And that's why I'm excited, because you really need to know your stuff. Sorry, small ears.
What the what?
What the what?
John, watching the program right here. How about new construction? You guys haven't talked much new construction today.
No, and I'm kind of staying a little bit away from it. I've been texting early this morning with some folks at Stanley Martin and Bramante Homes. I want to try to do a new construction like a Friday or a Monday round table. So I'm trying to get these folks in.
And it's something that I generally stay out of, just from
Now, why is that?
There's more. I deal with smaller builders. So for them, the challenge has become affordable lots and versus larger tracts and bigger developments.
So there's two paths in new construction. One you can absolutely help with because it's just a normal transaction, right?
Look, I'm not talking about helping. I'm just talking about, I like to talk, but I also don't like to talk about stuff that I I like to know my stuff if we're going to talk about it, and if we're specifically on new construction, where this is something that not only have you done, but then you are much more engaged with actual
I'm already married, buddy. But
bigger builders versus.
so let me give this a shot real quick. So, if you are buying a home from Stanley Martin Homes, right? It's a normal transaction, just like any other buy, because they are selling the house and lot
Yes.
house and lot
It's a
package.
turnkey purchase.
That you can help with. It's a
100%.
simple real estate transaction. Where we get to the other side of the coin, this is the reason I want to bring Bramante Homes in. Custom homes, very different, because typically the buyer owns the land in some way, shape, or form. It's a construction loan. It's a little bit more
I can
complicated.
still help there. I've got something for that, but you get into.
What about land? You got land stuff?
I don't have land stuff, but you get into a smaller, you get into a more niche, that's where I go, well, when I talk to a buyer who comes to me saying, we want to do this, I go, oh, cool. Have you talked to your realtor? Do you have an architect that's giving you plans? Has the builder built this type of house before? Do you have an idea of what the cost for this dream is? And so many times the answer is they feel like it's literally like fire hose. They're like, what? And it's like, look, let's refocus you from where we are right now to let's get with these people, because you're going to go spend money with the architect coming up with these plans to take to a builder to come up, to have these things to put in place. Now, that's to the custom model. To a smaller builder who has got different models and they build these types of homes, and the customization comes into what type of countertops and floors and that type of thing. Then we can go, all right, look, we know that we can get you in this house for $375,000 at that price point in this area with these options. That gives an entirely different view to the borrower, buyer, and the builder on how we're all going to go execute and get this done.
So this is why this needs a specific show. It is very
100%.
very different. The paths are different, and I don't want to confuse folks in the conversation on it, but as general rule, if I am buying from a production builder who owns, regardless of large or small, lost my
Real Talk with Keith Smith.
Is it upside down?
No, it's good.
There you go.
It's perfect.
If it's a small, large production builder who owns the land, on your side of the equation, it's typically just a normal transaction, right? Custom, pardon me, is very different. Sorry about that, folks. It's very different. The contracts are different. Everything is very.
You got two. You got some weight. You got some weight you're dealing with
Look
there.
at that. Scott Morris.
Look at Scott.
Spencer, for both of you guys, in the custom process, does the custom builder own the land? Are you buying the land from the custom builder?
So, maybe yes.
Maybe no yes.
Maybe no yes,
There you go.
right? I was a custom builder. I always owned the land to go ahead and do that.
Sometimes they'll place a lien on the property.
Yeah.
And there's again, this is.
Well, it's interesting because I wrote something down and it's a post-show conversation. I've been concocting on how to do a buyer and seller seminar live and bring folks in. The same thing on the builder side of it. Kind of do a live seminar where we'll bring in the custom builder to talk about that. But to the viewers' question, 9 times out of 10, it's usually you own it. And the path is very different. There's drawers and inspections, and the builder has to get pre-approved by the lender. It's a very complicated process.
Topic from yesterday's show has come up for you, Keith.
Oh, no.
How about the UVA applications record for first
I was
years?
in Richmond all day. I did not get a chance to watch the show.
Class
So
of
bring-
2027, a first-year application record. The amount of people.
What's the number? What was the number?
Over 57,000 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds applied to UVA.
For
Class of 2027.
and how many?
What was the number?
27?
4,500?
25. That
Get
sounds
accepted?
about right.
Yeah, about 4,500.
So the question to you, because you're a UVA grad, do you ever see UVA going above 27, 30,000?
I think every year UVA is going to admit more people.
But do you ever think it's going to get to like an Ohio State kind of thing?
I
50,000?
don't think that large
Yeah.
because I don't think we have the accommodations for a student body that large. But I think UVA is watching closely as density upticks. those students are going to live in those beds.
You can give a shout out to our fellow Marine buddy, Bill Bellamy.
Brown.
Bellamy Brown, thank you. JMU's looking to do that.
Running for delegate.
Yeah, JMU's looking to do that, to be that huge Ohio State kind of state. At least when our youngest daughter was there, that was the conversation around the water cooler at the swim meets that only parents showed up for.
DJ Moberly, giving Scott Morris props. Why don't you give DJ some props and his company, Scott?
Yes, they are amazing. Inspired Homes. His wife Ann is an incredible decorator. He does phenomenal work. They are a fantastic team. Check them out online. They do, you'll love what you see.
The Chip and Joanna of Culpeper County.
Chip and Joanna.
Culpeper County. Didn't you say that one time?
I think
you
Jake
did
McNamara was the one who said that.
Oh, that's right. Jake McNamara did say that over there.
Anything else on the feed, sir?
We have more on the feed for Keith specifically.
Uh-oh.
Keith, you haven't talked to some of the higher price points. How are they doing? How are they performing?
Yeah, great question. I think we brought that up a couple of shows ago.
Last week.
It was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we found out when we did a quick live search on it. I have to go back to the tape. Well, it's not tape anymore, right? Whatever. Digital
that still
tape.
works. That still
back
works.
to the tape and kind of look at it. But if I remember it correctly, it actually outperformed better than I had thought it would. Right,
That's what we found.
The upper end of it, and we can surely take a look at it live here in a little while. But cursory, over the top, the million plus, year over year seemed to have actually improved, which was a bit surprising to me. I don't know if that's surprising to you, Scott, but in our jurisdiction, it went over a little bit year over year. Are you seeing that in your world?
Just the number of properties, I think, has been the biggest thing, again, driving value there.
The vibe, the activity, yeah. So what I'm hearing is all price points, inventory matters, right? It's impacting the upper end as well as the lower end. And then to Neil Williamson's hard work he's doing, the missing middle's really getting squeezed in the middle of it there. The missing middle is two things. Missing middle is product, and missing middle is price point, right, on that end of it. So that's getting squeezed from both sides of the equation. But I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, and I don't want to sit here and go over and let you guys talk for an hour.
We can do that on a future show.
Yeah, how about Friday? It's just me and you
Undoubtedly.
Friday.
I was going to ask you about Elizabeth Cromwell's resignation.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I know she is a friend of yours.
Yes, come on the show a bunch of times.
She's awesome.
I am super happy for her. I think the search to replace her. So, you want to give the setup on who she is, or should I do
she's the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Announced yesterday she is stepping down and resigning and moving to Massachusetts.
And some personal stuff, and I'm very happy for her that she's going to do. I can tell you, as a city in the region, we're going to sorely miss her. She's been really good. If you ever actually go back to some of the past shows and watch her when she was on our show, but if you ever actually had a meeting with Elizabeth,
she's awesome,
or been in a presentation, you always walk out a whole bunch smarter. In my case, that doesn't take much.
No, stop.
But always go.
Dynamic lady, Elizabeth
very
Cromwell.
dynamic. The question is the who? That's going to be a hard seat to fill.
Andrea Copeland, the interim director for now.
Yep.
Interim CEO.
Yep. Absolutely. And,
National search going on.
Yep. And I have not had conversations with either one of the fine ladies, but I can tell you, Andrea's going to do a great job.
DJ Mobley says, thank you, Scott. He appreciates those kind words. Often, Scott highlights a Culpeper County business, and folks are requesting that highlight as we speak. Highlight one.
Something specific outside of Inspired Homes. I'm a huge fan of James and Grill 309. They don't. I feel like they should always get as much love as possible. Just on the fly, I'm trying to think if there's anything new that stands out that should definitely be bringing up. One of the big things is the field house. This is not business related, but more like public service utility stuff. The new field house is opened up near Culpeper County High School, which is kind of its own version of YMCA. There's you can very affordably get in as a family. I'm not going to quote the prices, but for a low amount, gain usage, and there's a lot of classes and just an enormous amount of energy being put into this being a very successful place for kids to go to be able to participate in sports and families to have access to something indoor to utilize for exercise and better development.
Ooh, I like that. I like that,
How
Scott.
about the Keith, Jerry, and Scott egg stand? I think that's a good
We
idea.
can do an egg stand.
On 29?
Yeah, I'll do one on downtown mall. I'll get out here.
My buddy's got a fruit stand, does real well.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was only joking, but that's actually not a bad idea. But getting a spot there is like,
You could do it at Freebridge. Mr. Cosner charges $20 a stall
there you go.
for the food trucks at
Oh, really?
Freebridge. That's it.
Okay.
$20 a day.
There you go.
It's not bad.
Oh,
not
my
bad.
God,
No.
yeah.
I mean,
Traffic on that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Today's
guy
egg
can do
prices, you just you sell 3 of them.
You got that covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, I'm seeing opportunity, a business opportunity here.
60% uptick in egg prices year over year.
I'll write a business plan. I'll present it to everybody. Let's do this.
Scott, is About Time still good?
It's About Time is still good. Yes, absolutely. Grassroots is very good. Something moved into the old Fody spot, and they were already downtown. Sweet Row, ROUX, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
What does Culpeper County need, or what is Culpeper County missing on the feed?
I don't know. I've been thinking about doing a Jimmy John's, man, like sandwich delivery.
Where you would be the franchisee.
Yeah.
Really? How about
I don't know. That's something I don't. Do I want to manage like? No.
how about a brewery?
We've got some breweries. Beer Hound, Far Gone, are right there in the downtown area. There's Warcraft, and probably 2 or 3 others that I'm forgetting that someone could hit me with. But
There are breweries out there, guys. There are breweries out there. Keith Smith.
Albemarle County, million and up, 143 sold last year, 6 days on market. This is no new construction. 1.395. And just out of curiosity, let's see what the number of differences for new construction on that. Again, these are actually sold on it. Only 44 were recorded. Now, new construction at that price point may not always hit the MLS. Interesting, a little lower, 1.2441. So the existing million and up was more expensive than the new construction million and up in Albemarle County, single-family detached, obviously, only on that end of it. And just out of curiosity, let's see what is active and what is pending while we are chatting a little bit.
What do you have planned for Friday's show, Keith?
Me and you at the moment. I'm setting up. This is kind of the segue into February, and I'm working on a couple of shows on February. New construction is for sure one of them, but we're going to start pivoting back into the Fridays roundtables with elected officials.
Love that.
Because budgets are starting to get set, and in my opinion, that's where that's where the rubber meets the road, and we need to really start talking about that. So when you start looking at your local jurisdictions, watching the budget will kind of dictate how things are going to go forward. Vote. Active right now, there's 32 no new construction million and up homes in Albemarle County for sale. Median list price is 2.2.
2.2 million. Judah Wickower has given us the heads up that the market reports are online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Please check those out. Keith Smith is doing a good job updating the stats and metrics on that website. Scott Morris, we would love some closing thoughts from you on today's show.
Closing is going to be the same as the opening. So a lot of what I've seen in media relating to how to go about buying a home, because there's all sorts of opinions out there right now. The one thing that even the bad articles seem to agree on is that the time to do it was yesterday. So if you've got the intent, don't be focused on the what ifs and the things that you can't control. Control your controllables. Put yourself in the best position to grow wealth for yourself, for your family, be able to build some equity in a property that you can then turn around 3 to 5 years from now and move up to the next one with. Or if you want the homestead, on 2 acres, whatever it is that you think that you want, put that idea into action and let's go after it.
Nice, Scott. Scott's got a little Gary Vee to him. I like it quite a bit. I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee. Closing thoughts from the distinguished gentleman.
So, picking up from that segue, look, it's great to read, right? It's great to look at it. Most of the stuff you look at is national, and it really kind of skews your vision on the local market.
Today's headline was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just going to keep on beating this drum, right? Right location, price, features, condition, timing, and who's on the other side matters. So, if you're thinking about it, reach out to a trusted advisor. We'll help you any way we can. If not, your trusted real estate professional, reach out to anybody in our partner tab. They're going to help you do that. Reach out to Scott. He's going to help you navigate that. But sometimes it's better to hear what's going on in not better. I know it's always better. What's going on in my next door, in my neighborhood. It's great to look at the regional, national stuff, and even when you start reading some of the stuff that these really smart PhDs put out, they always say, but hey, talk to a trusted advisor. So reach out to a trusted advisor.
You have 2 trusted advisors on set, Keith Smith and Scott Morris.
3.
Thank you. Liza's the 3rd. Judah Wickower, of course, a trusted advisor. Oh, you're highlighting Judah over there. Okay.
I would suggest we do Judah first.
Okay, I think we should do that.
Just saying.
Judah Wickower is the director of today's program.
It's kind of like being
all our shows.
It's kind of like being nice to the chef, right?
Judah Wickower is an important team member, no doubt about it. We love you, Judah Wickower. Scott Morris, guys, of Ross Mortgage. We love Scott. He routinely on Wednesdays joins us, and he is fantastic. Keith Smith, 3 days a week. I spend,
Enough time.
90 minutes. So
That's
that
more than
adds
that.
up.
Front end and
I know,
back end,
I'd
it's
say
way more
probably
than
6 hours a week we spend.
I would put it at 2 hours per show. Front
Yeah.
end, back end.
6 hours a week.
Yeah, there you go. Look
It's
at
a
that.
lot.
Well, that's this many.
That's
right?
that many. He's of Yes Realty Partners. And you have had a chance over the last 4 years to get to know Keith on Real Talk. I encourage you to trust Keith and Yona with the buying and selling of your house. He is, what you see is what you get. And character is how I would describe Keith, a man of integrity and honesty. Keith and Yona Smith. Judah Wickower, the director, the I Love Seville show up in 59 minutes. We will see you then, guys. Take care.
Awesome.
Good job. You want us to use the restroom? Looks like somebody does over there. Working out again.
How you feeling, man? We're off?